So we're replacing the harmonic balancer on a 2001 Nissan Sentra. We've got the right tools and the right training. Now this video is for my dad. This is his puller, and we're using his knowledge and his know-how. Here's where the harmonic balancer goes, on the end of the crankshaft. Probably the most difficult part of this job is getting the belts off of this car. I want to show you a little something. Now, I've picked this up off other videos of talking to other people. Now, this is a cut down 14mm wrench, which fits on the back of the power steering pump. Now, if that bolt is tight, the power steering pump won't move. I found that out the hard way. We've got a harmonic balancer installer. We're going to put this thing all back together. Like I say, the hardest part is getting the belts off of this car and being careful. I've got a large piece of white oak up under here, in addition to a 3-ton jack, and the full-size wheel and tire up under the car. Training from my dad. Anyway, Pa, I wanted you to see that your tools and your knowledge and your training have come in real handy today. Alright, we're using an OEM brand harmonic balancer installer. We used Molle engine assembly lube on the back of the new harmonic balancer. We have it installed, and we've torqued to, it's somewhere between 120 and 150 foot-pounds. I forget which. But anyway, we've got her torqued and putting everything back together. Don't forget your 14mm cut down wrench right there hanging off the power steering pump. So this is the power steering pump adjustment, and I have a 3/8 thumb ratchet down there on that. It's really handy for this. Some of you may have seen these and wonder, what in the world is that good for? That right there. Very handy right there. And then obviously for the final torques, you use a little bigger ratchet. I'll pull that out and let you get a good look at that. There it is. Very handy. That's a 12mm. So the adjuster itself is a 12, the lock is a 12, and then the big bolt on the bottom of the power steering pump is a 14. Alright. So right there is the crankshaft sensor. So you see the CV boot there, and you see that silver bolt head right there. That's your crankshaft sensor. Okay. Now the videos that I've watched recommend removing that brace. That brace right there, remove that, and then you'll be able to get to the crankshaft sensor. You see that green wire right there, the green tag on that wire. That's the pigtail for the crankshaft sensor. So the receipt I'm about to show you and the sensor I'm about to show you is what that work is for. Now this is very tight, and it took me about 45 minutes to get that out. So. And sorry about the video quality, but once you get under your car, you'll see all this. And it's very tight, but it can be done. I've got big, long arms and big hands and big fingers, and I was able to get that out without removing anything but the pigtail, and then using the proper wrench to break the lock loose and fish that out of there. But we'll show you outside the car here. Alright, so this is my car, and so I own this, what you're looking at here. You see the cost to change that crankshaft sensor, labor and the parts, $459.65 total. And I did this myself in about 45 minutes, and As you guys know, I do some of this kind of stuff. It's tight. It is difficult. So I got a stubby 10mm with a short extension. So what we were looking at there earlier, the crankshaft position sensor is like that in the car. You got 10mm, undo that, and undo your pigtail, and then start fishing this thing out. Of course, it's cast iron block. There could be rust there. This is much cheaper aftermarket, and we're running fine. I want to show you again mass airflow sensors. These are easy to change, relatively inexpensive aftermarket. They don't last long aftermarket, but this will greatly improve your drivability if you're having such issues as what we saw on that dealership receipt. So mass airflow sensor is right here. Again, it's a 10mm wrench is easier to access that really quick, really easy. We've replaced a total of 2 of those on this particular car. Coil packs, keep several of those on hand, as well as spark plugs. So the Hitachi units on this particular car, there are 2 different coil packs that are called for on this particular car. This is an 01. The Hitachi OEM is superior to anything aftermarket, and they work really well. Like we say, we keep plenty of those on hand, as well as spark plugs. So here's the current mileage on the car, 151,786 miles. So at 147,000 miles, we began having issues, head gasket related. We blew the radiator, the original radiator blew, developed a crack right here on the cap on the neck. Replaced the cap first, didn't realize what was going on, and then of course we saw the leak. Replaced the radiator, and I started getting a little bit of water in the oil. I took the car to a Nissan expert and had a full diagnosis, bore scopes, etc., and found a leak on cylinder 1. And so got a few estimates and didn't like the estimates. The estimates were more than the value of the car. So we gave this a go. An ex-dealer owner recommended and provided this at 147,000 miles. The car drives like brand new once again. No water in the oil, not losing any water. Starts, runs, and drives great. Good compression. To talk about the coil packs, again, that's an easy 10mm. It's an easy change. Carry several of those with you. As these cars age, the wiring gets brittle, connections corrode. Fuses and solenoids, something to keep in mind. Relays, fuses, solenoids, relays, connections, wiring harness. There is also a module just down this bank right here off the wiring harness that can give problems. It's a dealer only item. Found that out also. So I want to give you a shot of the alternator tensioner, the alternator belt right there. That's a 14mm. Break that loose and you will be able to adjust the alternator. Now the adjustment is right down there, and I think that's a 5/16 deep well on a quarter drive. I'll reach in there and grab that so you can see it. Okay. .5/16 deep well, quarter drive. So you break this 14mm bolt loose right there. Don't loosen it up, just break it loose. And then down here you'll be able to adjust your alternator belt. So this is going to be a combo video. I had to get that in there because of the trimmer. I didn't want to build a short, but this is a bearing pusher, puller, sleeve pusher, puller. This is a set that I bought to work on the little Nissan car. Now this thing comes in handy for tractors, side-by-sides, four-wheel drive trucks, front ends, rear ends. A real handy outfit. So in the Nissan car videos, I put a wheel bearing in that car, in the spindle, push the old one out and push the new one in. And this is the tool I'm using. I really didn't talk about it a whole lot. I don't think I talked about it at all, but I wanted to show that. Picked this up off of eBay. There's several automotive parts stores that carry these, and you can rent them. But the same with the taps. Why rent it when you can own it? And very fortunate to have this stuff. But I picked this up off of eBay, fairly reasonable, and it works really well. Using wrench pressure only, and I've got an automotive dealer / mechanic that helps me with this stuff, talks to me about it, and we talk back and forth about working on cars, a group of us actually. But this comes in very handy if you've got a side-by-side tractor, dozer. These little tools right here work very well. Very easy to use, and it beats a hammer most of the time. Sometimes you have to revert to the hammer, but this comes in very handy. Wanted to show you that as well.